Hey everybody, welcome to Workforce Gaming. I am Brad, here with Doug.
Hi.
We recently received a key for Dead Cells. Now,
Yep.
this is a little late because Doug has been working on this tirelessly, I think is the wrong word, but Doug has been
Yeah.
trying to like this game for a couple weeks now, just trying to spend
Yeah.
more and more time with it. Because I know your initial reaction was not very pleasant.
Yeah, no, so I actually do kind of like these games. Like we just did a review for Enter the Gungeon, a game I really, really like. So I'm actually kind of a big fan of this sort of like randomization arcadiness games. Um, and I thought I would like this one. And it's one of those games that like I can acknowledge, like if you watch any of the review and they talk about all this amazing stuff with it, it's like I can't disagree with that, but I just did not like this game like at all. Like my first impression was, I don't like this game. This isn't for me. Let me give it another shot. Try it a few more times. It's like I kind of like this game. And then I was like, and then I got to like this. I got to the second boss. I think I actually got past the second boss, like near to the final areas. And it's just like, it just kind of dawned on me. It's like I'm not having any fun, but I actually have very good. I think I actually have pretty good reasons for not having fun with this game.
Yeah, so that's what I'm curious because everything I've heard about
Yeah,
this, and this was something that I was actually interested in just because I'd heard such good things about it
yeah.
from literally everyone but you. Um,
Actually,
so
no. Actually, no. There is a guy on the Game Informer podcast who actually gives like he like just he just like goes off on the game, and I was like, I totally agree with everything this guy says. So there's at least one
so
other person out there who kind of agrees with me.
so Doug and this one other random dude are the only people who don't. So what are your complaints? Because from everything I've seen, it's fun, it's tough, but you can kind of figure it out. It's what so what is there to complain about?
So I think they meet. I think the things. I think it's hard to talk about the bad things first without understanding how the game kind of works. So what it is, it's a Castlevania like game, but you go from point A on the map to point B on the map, and then it randomizes everything in between. So the enemies are randomized, the weapons you use are randomized. Like you have like say five or six different, well, no, you should have a lot of different types of weapons, but then they also have like random modifiers on top of them. So like this arrow will do 120% more damage if the bad guy's on fire. So if
Oh,
you have a
okay.
fire grenade and then in combination with the with that arrow thing, then you're cooking with gas sort of thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Um, so they randomize the weapons and then they randomize the layouts, and they sort of randomize not the types of enemies but just the number and like the areas of which the enemies are. So like if you go to the first level, it's always going to be the archers, the zombies, and then the grenade zombies. Once you get to the next level, it's always going to be XYZ. So they just kind of randomize, not what maybe not the types of enemies, just kind of like the order that you meet them in.
Okay.
Um,
So kind of like you talked about for Enter Gungeon, there is a lot of stuff that is set in stone. Like this happens every single time. This happens in this place every single time.
yeah, pretty much. Like the thing is, but there's only like maybe three or four types of enemies per level.
Okay.
Um, while like Enter the Gungeon, you can have like 10 different types of enemies like on a given level. Um, so the combat itself is like super awesome. It's great. It's actually like it's really fluid. It's really fun. But I just could not get over the randomization of the levels because the levels themselves, they feel randomly designed. Like you can feel that sort of like this is not a well designed level. So like every single level I played,
Yeah.
it just felt like a poorly designed level. Um, and that to me is like to me that's kind of like a minor complaint because I'm not one to be like after I finish levels like that was good level design. Usually it's kind of like that was a really cool sequence. I don't know how they made that good, but I like that. um,
Yeah.
but yeah, so that's what I was just like. I kind of felt like that randomization, so I wasn't really feeling that. But the thing that this game that I think that kind of stuck with me is that every time I died, I never felt like I learned anything. I think in Bloodborne, you can sort of learn where enemies' positions are. You can sort of learn how enemies attack. Like once you get good at Bloodborne and you know the area, you can just dice your way through it.
Yeah.
Now in Dead Cells, because there's so much randomization at play, I never felt like I was getting much better at the game. Like I know how to attack these enemies, so every time I meet an enemy, I fight it the same way.
Hmm.
It's maybe in a little different order, but there's never more than one or two enemies at a time, so you're never really mixing up a lot of what you do. It's like when I fight this enemy, I do it this way. When I fight this enemy, I do it this way. Um, so it's a game that requires patience, but you never feel like you're learning. Like you didn't learn the level. You may have learned how to fight that enemy, but you didn't learn the level. So like next time you go around, it's like I'm gonna have a totally different weapon set. So I don't know. Like next time I meet this area, it's gonna be totally different. So Um,
So
it just felt, yeah,
is your concern more because I feel like that's almost more of a concern of just, and that's tends to be my concern in general, just with games that are procedurally generated, randomized like that. Is it
yeah.
more of a concern just with that type of genre, or is it that this game just the randomization is too crazy and just changes up too much?
That's actually a good question. I think it might. I mean, I think it might change up too much because in Enter the Gungeon, it doesn't matter what weapon you. I mean, it matters a lot what weapon you have, but you can always just dodge bullets better. You can feel yourself getting better at dodging bullets,
Yeah,
right? And in this one, it just felt like I knew what I needed. It's in this one, like you had to be patient all the time with like every enemy you fought, but it was the exact same way of going through. Like you went through the enemy the exact same way, like every single time. So it never felt like, oh, I know a better way to kill this enemy. It's like I have the right weapon set this time, and I can do the exact same things I need to. And I don't know I don't know why, for whatever reason it affected me more in this one, because like Binding of Isaac, it doesn't bug me. Enter the Gungeon, it doesn't bug me. But for this one it does. I think this one just it feels more repetitive, and I don't know what it is why it feels more repetitive. I think it's just because you only fight one or two enemies at a given time, like maybe three or four. But because you're there, never gets really crazy. So you're just doing the exact ABC over and over again. If you're patient, you can just take out every enemy one by one the exact same way, like that you would at any other time you've gone through the level. So like the randomization to me doesn't help. It's just more annoying. All the enemies, like you fought them the exact same way every time you met them. And then it felt like the weapon randomization and item randomization was like way more high highs, low lows than compared to Enter the Gungeon, where I always felt like I was doing okay. And in this one, it's just
gotcha.
like, well, I got shit this time. You really do feel that I got shit this time. One, so yeah,
Yeah, I feel like
to me, it falls in the major pitfalls of the genre.
yeah, and I think those are the things that you've always got to look out for with these is those bad rolls. I hate that, and that's my biggest issue
Yeah,
with this genre in general is just getting that bad roll of I the game set me up to lose, and I hate that feeling.
yeah,
So
yeah. I think there's an important thing that I kind of forgot is that like when you go through the dungeons, you can earn new weapons, so it throws it into new like randomization buckets. So you get new types of weapons, new types of this. But it came out to the point I realized like, wait a second, am I actually just not good at this? Am I not good at this game, or do I just not have the right equipment yet? Because as soon as I got like a new weapon, I was suddenly like destroying everybody. So I just had to wait for that weapon to come back and roll around. It's like, wait a second, maybe I'm not actually really bad at this game because when I get a good roll, like I'm suddenly just destroying everybody and doing just fine.
yeah,
So it just felt like that, like, oh, maybe if I play a few more hours, collect a few more new weapons, then I'll be doing. But it's like I don't want to wait that long. It just
how
I
much?
wasn't having fun.
Yeah, how many times do you want to go through the same first level over and over again and kill those same chunk over and over and over again to be able to get to the point where you're actually good at it?
Exactly, and it's like I'll say it's like that first level you've gone through a lot. That second level you go through a ton, and then it's the third level that gets hard. So it's just like it's like you spend like 10 minutes getting through the first two levels, flying through those just fine, and it's only the third and fourth levels are the hard ones. So it's like the worst part. It's like a Dark Souls boss. Like when you get killed in a boss, like crap, I have to run through
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yep.
3 minutes to get there. Now it's I have to run through 10 minutes to get there, and that feels a lot worse.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. So do you get to bring stuff in with you? Because I know that's something that some games do, some don't. So when you die, what do you keep?
um, you can so this is how the upgrade system works. So when you first play the game, you get nothing. You keep nothing from your last one. But then some of the upgrades are like you get to keep money, which you can use to purchase stuff. Like there's kind of like randomized shops throughout.
Yeah.
That you can purchase stuff. But pretty much that was pretty much all I unlocked was like being able to keep your um, money. So that's basically it. But the thing is, like the money works in kind of a weird way, where the stuff you can actually buy is kind of randomized. So like sometimes you run to a shop, sometimes you won't. Um, and I think at like the end of the level, you meet like a shopkeeper, but his stuff is usually so cheap anyway that like it doesn't really matter if you kept your stuff from the last time. Because
Gotcha.
like so currently the max I got was like I had upgraded my keep my money to level 2, so I have 6,000 gold, but I never went lower than 6,000 gold every time I died. So because it was just like everything was so cheap anyway, so that wasn't really helping me. One of the other upgrades though is like you get a much better weapon when you start, but that takes forever to get. So it's like, oh, as soon as I got this, get a much better weapon to start, I'm doing much better at the game. But it was like it didn't feel like that was me doing that. It felt like the game's randomization or the game's progression. Suddenly now I'm better at the game because the game has given me a better weapon, and that just doesn't feel great.
Yeah. So you lose the kind of the almost your agency in it, and your ability to succeed is determined solely by the game.
Yes, that's actually a very good. Yeah, that's a very good way to put it.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
So I guess outside of, because all of these are purely genre concerns, I feel like, is there anything like specific that Dead Cells does other than like these like very specific genre things that you like or dislike? Because a lot of this I feel like is almost just a critique of the genre in general.
Yeah, I don't know why I see it so much more in this one than other games I play because I do kind of like this genre, but for whatever reason, like to me that those bad things in that genre kind of stick out. Um, I think the setting is kind of interesting, but they made the main character kind of goofy in like a not great way. Because I think the setting is actually kind of cool, and everybody takes the setting very seriously except for the main character. Um, so it's kind of like playing like Deadpool. Like it's kind of funny when Deadpool does it because like Deadpool he has a lot of quips, but your character doesn't speak or anything. He just has goofy animations. Like he'll knock on a door and like nobody will answer, and then he'll knock again, and he'll like make like a goofy gesture about nobody answering the door, and it's like you made everything else in this game very seriously except for this one character, your main character's animations, who's like not taking it seriously, and like sometimes he'll have like quips about like sometimes he like thinks things and like he'll make jokes about like bad game design and stuff. Um, but to me, that can kind of work if everybody's in on the joke, if all your characters are in on the joke. And it just seemed like this was the only character. So you actually do have some pretty neat character designs. You have some pretty cool, like I think like the NPCs are really neat looking. Um, and it just didn't. It just felt like that humor just kind of fell flat. So I just like really, I didn't like the main character. So if I don't like the main character, then it's like suddenly, you
Yeah,
know,
that makes it hard to enjoy everything else you're doing.
yeah, exactly. And I think the art style is actually kind of interesting because everything's like really like strong acidy colors, which is something like I don't even know how else to describe. It kind of looks like a laser quest. Probably not about. If you're from the Midwest and went to a laser tag place called Laser, it's like laser tag colors. I don't know how else to describe it,
Oh no, yeah, no,
but
I
it's
think
like this
that's
really, really. Oh, sorry. It's just these really, really bright colors that are kind of neat and kind of interesting. Um, but I don't know for whatever reason this game like didn't grab me, and like it didn't grab me because I didn't like the main character, and it didn't grab me with its gameplay loop, and then at some point it's just like now I feel like the game is also against me because it feels like I'm not getting better as a player. I'm getting better only because the game has now released one of its gates, which only the only way I could unlock that get through that gate was through grinding, and I was like, that's just no,
yeah,
no.
that's a lot to ask.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean it's kind of a neat game. I think if like people, I also don't like Castlevania games, so maybe that might be part of it. That might be the part of it. I don't know.
Yeah, so there's a lot of factors at work here, and who knows where it came from. But
Yeah,
anyway, yeah, I'm sure. I don't know. I'm still kind of curious about this, just because everything else is like how glowing and amazing this is. So I don't know if maybe it's just,
I
sometimes
honestly,
you just hit that
yeah,
game and you're like, this isn't the time for this game.
it's a Castlevania with bad level design.
Okay, well, you don't like bad level design or Castlevania, so I think that sums up why we're here.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
Well, all right. Well, we are Workforce Gaming. You can follow us on Twitter at Workforce Gaming. Subscribe to us wherever you're listening to, and we will see you later.